Hi guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium, and welcome to my channel and welcome to my channeling tonight of, I want to say Miss, even though she's just like, I was married quite a few times, but I just want to call you Miss, Miss, like MS period, Sinead O'Connor. Yay! Hi Sinead. She's like, hello. She's just hanging out in the corner. That's like my spot now for people. She's actually saying they want to move it. They want to move the spot to over here. So she's over here now. They're usually on this side. She's like, I want to be closer. She's over here. And she came through like Aladdin with a swirl of, she chose green, like an emerald, for Ireland, an emerald green swirl underneath her. She's like, but not a snake. Yes, definitely not a snake, not a reptilian. Ms. Oh, is that Ms? That used to be important when we were growing up. If you were like a Ms. Ms. magazine, or if you were a Mrs. So yes, Sinead O'Connor. So you guys, Sinead has been with me off and on very strongly lately, but since her passing, I did a short bio of her after her passing. She knew I had a long list. I still have a long list of people to get to. I'm in New York, so you're gonna hear sirens always when I start. Anyway, she took her place, and so we've just been talking, and I've been doing like talk to text, so I have so many notes, and finally I was like, and she too, and my team said, just do it today. And today is June 29th, 2025. And this all is significant, this date. All of this is all tying together. As usual, I'll see more of it after I finish. But so today is the anniversary of my mother's passing. My mom passed June 29th, 2013. So this is a big day. And as far as mothers go, I will introduce you to my spiritual team, where I fall on the spiritual team, where Sinead falls, her galactic origins. But in the spiritual realm, you know, I'm Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Metatron is spiritually a child of mine, and she is Sinead. Okay, she's like, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, just letting you know how this all ties into motherhood, which was just, she's saying, it was the theme the theme of her life was the relationship between her and her mother, and that was a big part of her mission. But before we go any further, I'll get into a little biography of her too, who she is. Sinead O'Connor, many of you know, famous Irish singer, one of the best singers of all times, and songwriters, musicians. There's just so much to say. Okay, but even before I get into her biography, I'd like to pray to my spiritual team. If you would like to pray with us, I recommend it. It's awesome. Just close your eyes. My prayer is going to be a thank you. Even just saying thank you calms me down. I'm going to start with thanking God. God comes to me from my upper right. God comes to me as a white light connecting through Jesus. Jesus is on my upper right. I'd like to thank God. Thank you, God, for life. God's white light goes right through Jesus, who's coming to me very indigo, strongly in his Pleiadian energy. I'd like to thank Jesus. Jesus, thank you for peace. Jesus has this little connection to Mary Magdalene. They're a team. Thank you, Mary Magdalene. Thank you for patience. Mary Magdalene's a recent part of this team. It's been great having her presence. She's been helping me with patience, which I really struggle with. Mary Magdalene connects to, and Mary Magdalene and Jesus are similar colors. Mary Magdalene's coming through today a little more white and a little more violet. Mary Magdalene is connecting to Mother Mary, who sits at my right-hand shoulder. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you for comfort. Oh, she's really comforting me. And, you know, she's Mother Mary. This whole theme of today, Sinead's mission, is about mothers. So the connection to Mother Mary is very big right now. She's talking right now about my mother. I'm like, yes, thank you. My mother here on earth this time she is not a part of my spiritual team, but obviously I was meant to be her daughter. And that's a story for another day. It was part of my life mission, and someday I will tell you all that. But anyway, we do not celebrate, but honor the anniversary of my mother's passing. Thank you, Mother Mary, for comforting me and for being here with me. And I can feel you really helping me during this time. And Mother Mary is the same color as Mary Magdalene. Mother Mary connects over to Father Joseph. Thank you, Father Joseph. Thank you for stability. He's like, I'm going to keep it brief. He's coming in very indigo and violet today. Father Joseph connects over to, and thank you, Father Joseph, thank you for stability. Father Joseph connects over to Archangel Michael, who's very big, very indigo. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you for protection. Archangel Michael connects over to Metatron. Thank you, Archangel Metatron. Thank you for entertainment. Archangel Metatron is a big part of this reading today too. We'll get into that a little bit later. Archangel Metatron connects over to Archangel Eric Medhus. Thank you, Archangel Eric Medhus. Thank you for communication. Archangel Medhus is part of the group of Archangel Uriel, but he's branched off in order to help us mediums, and you too, if you would like to connect to, in your own way, connect to your loved ones, or any, you know, who you would like to connect to in the spiritual realm. Archangel Eric, oh, thank you, Archangel Eric Medhus. Thank you for communication. Archangel Eric Medhus connects to Archangel Gabriel, who sits in front of me. Thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Thank you for acceptance. I can really, really feel them strongly tonight. Thank you. Archangel Gabriel connects over, back over to this side of the circle. This is a smaller circle branching out to a larger circle. Thank you to Archangel Sandalphon. Thank you, Archangel Sandalphon. Thank you for intelligence. Archangel Sandalphon is very white. Archangel Sandalphon connects over to Archangel Raphael, who is very violet. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. Thank you for healing. And just to let you all know, these are the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, and the tall whites that form this group. Archangel Raphael connects over to Archangel Azrael. Thank you, Archangel Azrael. Thank you for organization. Archangel Azrael is also violet, white, and indigo. Archangel Azrael connects to Archangel Jophiel. Thank you, Archangel Jophiel. Thank you for magical beauty. Archangel Jophiel is white, a little bit of violet, and very gold and silver and sparkling. She's very sparkly, and she's wearing like a sparkling stars around her head tonight. And she's also very connected to this mother energy tonight. Someday I will do videos on each archangel, each spiritual group. I have a whole list of people to do, so we'll see. But I'll eventually get to that. If you watch my videos, I do I describe them just more and more in each video. Archangel Jophiel connects over to Archangel Uriel, which is me. Thank you, Archangel Uriel. Thank you for my mission. So my mission is to help you all with your mission. And how I do that is just being a messenger for Jesus, who oversees all of this, a messenger for the archangels, and for all of this, my spiritual team that comes through. So I think I've mentioned this before. The spirits that I channel are part of my spiritual team, and I think it's going to be like that for a long time, or maybe, yeah, maybe forever. It's a big spiritual team. And so, you know, like I said, this team are the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, and the Tall Whites. Everyone on this team are all three. They just resonate and come through with purposes of higher vibrations, of like Jesus is, and myself are more Pleiadian, and we kind of branch off into a group too. So you can watch my other videos for explanations of that. So moving on, Archangel Jophiel connects over to Archangel Zadkiel. Thank you, Archangel Zadkiel. Thank you for balance. And he's coming through very green. Archangel Zadkiel is also a great teacher. Green is a great teaching color. Archangel Zadkiel connects to Archangel Jeremiah. Woo! Thank you, Archangel Jeremiah. Thank you for wildness. He's coming through with these Mexican, I don't know what they are. They're wooden and orange and yellow, and so he's coming through in those colors. Very wild, very strong yellow aura. Archangel Jeremiah connects over to Archangel Raguel. Archangel Raguel, thank you for swagger. The Mexican, I don't know what those are, characha. I don't know the word, but anyway, thank you, Archangel Raguel. Thank you for swagger. Archangel Raguel is coming in also very red, a little bit of yellow and orange. Archangel Raguel connects over to Archangel Chamuel, who's very light blue. Thank you, Archangel Chamuel. Thank you for calm. Archangel Chamuel connects over to Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you, Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you for nutrition. Archangel Ezekiel's he's coming with this whole theme on this side. He's coming as a candy corn. It's like yellow, red, and white, or orange, yellow, orange, and white. I said the wrong color. Metatron loves those little beeps. I don't know if you guys heard that little honk. Thank you. So Archangel Raguel connects over to Ezekiel, and thank you, Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you for nutrition. Archangel Ezekiel connects over to Archangel Haniel. She's been very important. They're all she, he, but they come through. She comes through often as a she, very comforting. Thank you, Archangel Haniel. Thank you for sleep. She's really been helping me this week. Archangel Haniel connects over to Archangel Daniel. Thank you, Archangel Daniel. Thank you for humor. So, like I said, this is my spiritual team. Let's thank them. They are helping this reading. They are so much more than one or two words, more than their description. Pray to them if you need assistance in those areas or what you intuitively felt they could help you with, your own personal connection. Like I said, they are the Pleiadians, Arcturians and tall whites. Just a brief explanation. Jesus told me that when God created humanity, he got together with the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the tall whites, and the reptilians to create humanity here on Earth, with the idea that we would have free will. So, of course, there's a siren. Okay, so moving on from that, we take a sip of water. Okay, let's start with a little biography of Ms. Sinead O'Connor. This is something she told me, which I haven't really been talking about too much lately. She told me her Myers-Briggs type is it's very important for her life mission that she had. It explains a lot of the combination of everything she went through and how she responded to it. So she was an ENFJ, extroverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. So, you know, that's, she, because of that, she, you know, part of her life mission was to extend herself to others through her intuition, her feeling, her judging. And we can see many of you, I'm sure, watching this, know about her life story, the things she went through, a lot of decisions that she made. So that played into it. So she is Arcturian and Pleiadian. And I just want to let you all know what we are, what our galactic origins are, is what we are. There are some status things that people can grow into. There are behaviors that we do that, you know, create, just sort of add to our souls, our missions. Arcturians, Pleiadians, and tall whites have missions, and reptilians have life paths. So if you all are more interested in galactic origins, I've put all my stuff into playlists, so you can check out the playlist of breaking down these groups and helping you all to figure out what you might be. And Jesus said, as of now, like, I'm a medium and I'm getting these messages from him, but it is not like astrology. There isn't, he's saying yet, there, because of the complications of it and the importance of it. We'll talk about that more in another video, but also use your own intuition as to what you are, and use this information to help you with your life mission, help you with your life path. The 4 galactic influences correspond also with the 4 houses of Harry Potter that was downloaded from Jesus and this team to help out to remind you to Sinead, myself, Jesus, all of my team. We're messengers. She brought messages through music, and that was her life mission. But when they come through, and she is coming through right now, it is all to help humanity, to give messages to humanity. So, you know, all the messages that Jesus gave when he was here and continues to give to people, it's all to assist, to make your life better, to make your mission better, to make your life path better. Because when we are on our highest life path, life mission, that's where we will thrive the most. And that affects everything. That affects who we meet romantically, how happy we are, how much energy we have, all of that. So just a reminder, it's good for me to get back to the basics. So who is Sinead O'Connor in this group? She is a child of Archangel Metatron. So in this group, it's very challenging to explain, but I told you all, I'm Archangel Uriel. I'm in the center of this circle. I am considered a parent of this group, and on the right side of this circle are my elders. So they're like spiritually my grandparents, my elders. So that would be all the people, Sandalphon, Azrael, Mother Mary, Father Joseph, are considered like to be like my elders. It's like sacred geometry. It's hard to explain, but where Sinead spiritually, oh, sorry, my neck is sore. Sinead spiritually is my grandchild. So that's a bit hard to explain too, because in Sinead's lifetime, her mother, who she had such a hard time with, is not part of her. Her mother is not a part of her spiritual family. So Sinead, like myself, like many of you, came into our lifetimes, my lifetime now and her lifetime then, with a few missions. So she came into that lifetime. She was born December 8th, 1966. All these even numbers that I love. And she passed July 26th, 2023. I don't know why I said 2017 before. Sorry, I have a lot of dates in my mind because, and I'm terrible with dates. Because before we came on, we were talking about different dates. The date of my mother passing, which was 2013. My brother passed in 2016. So it's just been a lot. I had a big life event in 2014 and 2018. Okay. So yes, so she's been with me. It actually hasn't been that long. It's been since 2023. Okay. Sorry. I actually, I've talked to Jesus, like, I tell him that it's just very challenging for me to give these details because they're, I hate to say this, they're actually not that important to me because of the connection I have and the messages, but I do understand how important they are to you all. So I do try to get them right, these details. And I know they are important, especially numerology is important in life. You know, I've talked about that in my videos, seeing numbers, seeing angel numbers, connecting to those numbers. So I'm just doing my best not to overlook it because it's easy for me to overlook it because I already have the information and I really try to get to the messages. But we're gonna take our time. That's why Mary Magdalene has been coming to me. She really talked to me about taking my time. I know we live, it's 2025. I live in Manhattan, which is a very, very rushed culture, and our attention spans have been reduced, me included, but this is important. Me connecting to them is very important, and I've tried and it's messed me up to rush through this, and it's just, you know, Jesus asked me also not to, because all of these little in-between things, everything is a message. So when you watch my channel, everything is a message. Okay, so Sinead passed when she was 56. And so Sinead was 2 years older than me, and I thought she was older, like much older, because like when I was in college, she was on the radio, like playing the best and like very famous music. She reminded me of this time, but let me just tell you, I told you she's an Irish singer, songwriter, activist. Her debut album is called The Lion and the Cobra, if you want to check that out. Also, I'm going to put a link. I think I'm going to put it in the description and in a comment of, there's a channel on YouTube that has about like 200 of her songs, and I'm telling you guys, they're all good. It's an awesome playlist. I just highly recommend you listen to the link that I put in, and you just honor Sinead and listen to her music, you know, when you get a chance. Okay, so she told me, she's like, tell the story. You know, Irish people love to tell stories, so it's part of the culture, part of the Celtic culture too, that whole region. There's a lot of Celtic energy, DNA history in Ireland, you know, like northern England, some in England, you know, and it's spread out, but on the Isle of Wight too is significant. And I have DNA from that area, and it all connects to Metatron. And the way I see Metatron is I see Metatron as Robin Williams, because that's how he comes to me, and that's why she came through as Aladdin. That's a connection to Metatron, which is spiritually her father. So if she met, oh, sorry, these sirens. Yes, so yeah, they were alive together, Sinead and Robin Williams. So that's kind of interesting, that whole dynamic. I'll get into that in other videos of like of how people have asked me, like, you know, how does that affect your relationship? Say you meet someone who's like should be your father. It can be awkward. It can be great. It can, because Jesus has really been wanting me to talk about this, and Sinead is agreeing with him. This is not good, guys. We don't take into account like energy between people a lot in 2025 worldwide cultures. We are very focused on romantic love, and this might help you, this whole idea, if you feel like you aren't attracted to that many people. It could be your galactic origins and really making it necessary to find the right group. So how you might know someone is, you know, maybe a parent to you or a child, is really tune into your intuition. Oftentimes, I'm glad Jesus explained this to me, because, you know, when I was growing up, so many gorgeous, beautiful, talented, successful people I've met in my own life, and famous people that I just was like, they're awesome, they're beautiful, they're perfect, but I'm not romantically attracted to them. And, you know, Jesus explained it to me where my position is as a parent. Like, a lot of those people were mostly, like, children in the child or grandchild group or beyond. And so, you know, especially like me being a woman, that's, yeah, that's not a good. And on the other side, the parents of mine, same thing. I often feel correctly about, like, looking back, and this is all to help you guys too. Obviously, whatever I'm talking about, I want you to do in your life. Look back over people you've met, and maybe you admired them, like when I meet people who are in my elder group, I tend to like admire them, but I really get like a parent feeling from them. So that would, for me, that would be like Mr. Rogers. These are just some examples. Elon Musk, Einstein. Anyway, just trying to explain that. So this is very important for Sinead's life. I want to explain that she was autistic, didn't know it. Not very, it's just, when it explains like she really struggled with romantic relationships, but also the terrible relationship she had with her mother, like, didn't help her sort of social, a little bit of a, it's very hard to put words on it, a social deficit or social understanding of neurotypicals. So also to let you all know, galactics, which would be Arcturians, Pleiadians, and tall whites, fall somewhere on the spectrum of autism and ADHD. And of course, it would play out different ways depending on your intelligence, what your mission is, who your parents are, how you're raised. Sinead is saying she developed like if you know anything about autism, she developed what is it called? Special interest. Thank you. She developed a special interest in like connecting to people, but it was in a way of like, like giving and helping, guiding, and also it became, I take off my glasses for a minute, relax my eyes. It also became, it's very hard to put into words. She became very, a huge advocate to helping people at large, okay? So, but that strained sometimes her personal relationships. And then the ADHD, definitely, there were many, many indications of that. She's like, oh shit, I wish I knew all of that. Yeah. She had a great, she fulfilled her mission in many ways, but she wishes she just had some more information to work out other things that, you know, she really struggled with. So I mentioned the album, The Lion and the Cobra, and then another big album is it's called I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got. So, how Irish. She's like, yes. There's a little bit of a martyrdom, a little bit from her time period, and then the way she was raised. It's mixed in with like pride, and I understand it too. You know, her and I grew up in the same era, and you know, I grew up mostly in the northern Boston area, and heavy Irish Catholic, and my DNA on my father's side is Irish Catholic. So yes, and it was just part of the time period too. It's like pride and she's singing Pride now. She's like, in the name of love. She's very connected to Bono. Obviously, he's not obviously, but if you watch my channel, he's Archangel Uriel. So she's, can't believe he's my dad. So she had lots of run-ins with star seeds. She had a run-in with Prince, and you know, Prince is he's here over on the left. Don't hurt my neck, Prince. Oh, he's so sweet. He is a mixture of all the archangels. He's the color of the rainbow. Just we're all unique, but that's what's unique about him. And you know, he wrote "Nothing Compares to You," the famous song that Sinead sang. So all of this was going on spiritually, and when they met, he was trying to help her, but Sinead also became very aggressive as she got older, and she does regret that, because she's like, oh, I was a wise ass, and we call it snarky now. She had a something to say to everyone. She's defensive, rightly so, with her background, but you know, she wishes that she listened. She was talking to me. This is a big message from her, guys, for all of us, no matter where we are at in our journey. We need to listen. There's so many things that prevent us from listening. You know, it could be when we're more immature, like trying to learn, it's hard to listen. Then as we get older, we have these messages to give, especially all of us in the metaphysical, spiritual community. We just, once we find out that we need to pass on messages, it's sometimes hard for us to hear when we get on our mission, but she wishes she had listened more. She was so beaten down by her mother, by her parents, but especially her mother, that when she could finally be free and finally understand that she had something to say, something to give, that's all she wanted to do. But listening would have helped her in her relationships, would have helped her when she met Prince, who was trying to help her. He's like, you know, it was a time period too. He was snarky. And it's very hard of people of their caliber to meet. They were big stars. It's hard for stars to meet each other. And then it's like, well, how do we fit in? There's ego. And then there's like, are we attracted to each other? Okay, well, we're not, but we should be. Why are we not? And there's a lot going on, but you know, they've worked it out. He wanted to help her, and she wanted to take his help, but she wanted to be like, prove that she was equal and just as talented and opinionated, and it all matters, but it's just the way she's saying, they're saying together, they're agreeing, like it's the way you go about things. There's a way to give and receive without being snarky and getting feelings hurt, being disrespectful, and also without the flip side of it of like kissing up, disappearing. There's a happy medium, a balance. Thank you, Zadkiel. But Sinead, she's like, I wasn't there, especially, you know, they met when they were young. Yeah, I wrote Sinead has some good sleeper hits. So that is not always the case, but she had good major hits and good sleeper hits. Yeah, her song Nothing Compares to You was a top, you know, world single. And yes, so she wants me to tell the story of when I was in college. I worked at this little, like, it was a little takeout restaurant and a fruit, like, little grocery store. It was actually kind of hard work, but I worked there, and, you know, it was like trying to be kind of a cool college kid, do my job, and I did like takeout soup a lot. Like it was in Salem, Massachusetts. We had chowder, corn and clam chowder. That's like really big. You guys should go to Boston sometimes. Go to Salem, Mass. Try that stuff. There's nothing like it. Anywhere it won't taste the same. But anyway, so I think I was on soup duty, and I think I was hungover for sure. And I used to work in the morning there, and I didn't get a lot of sleep, but I tried to act like, you know, I was chipper. And I mean, I was chipper, but I would try to act like I wasn't hungover or tired. And so it's kind of stoic, I guess. So I remember walking to get something, like I just poured a soup, and then I was walking, and oh my God, I heard the song Nothing Compares to You, and you guys, just her voice, and I hadn't heard it, or maybe I'd heard it a couple of times. It was still new to me, and that song, like, I was in tears. I had to hold back the tears. It was so moving. Thanks, Prince. Thank you, Sinead. Thank you, team. Jesus. They all collaborate together to create these songs. It's just beautiful. It's, you know, just like a part of the other side that comes through for us. She's teasing me. Yeah, I was trying to, I'm like holding back tears. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. Like, you're in a situation where you're just supposed to be like cool and chill, and, you know, there's this song that's just moving you. So, she was very close to Mother Mary. Mother Mary was a huge guardian angel. Of course, Sinead is in this group, but really, she really connected to Mother Mary. And she was nicknamed Mother Mary, which is, you know, Sinead you can go through her pictures and stuff. She, you know, watch biographies. She had that look, and she would wear, you know, she just had that angelic face, which she still does. So yes, Mother Mary was a protector of hers. And Sinead was given intuitive messages through music. So she really was able to connect to those intuitive messages and create music. And she really, when she sang, all the earthly drama, it's hard, not all of it, but she really connected to the other side. So if you'd like to watch her videos, watch her biographies, you can tell. So guys, it's like, you know, it's the other side connecting to us. So, you know, they're really reminding me for all of us to listen to music. A lot of people ask me how they can connect. How do I connect? How do I connect? How do I connect to the other side? You know, how do I see them? How do I hear them? A lot of people really do want to see them. Even me, I see them in my mind's eye. I see them more when I'm channeling them, reading for them. But to actually see them like I see a real person, it's not like that. It's like the image, it's also in my mind's eye. I just know they're here. I haven't always fully explained that. And like, you know, I have had out-of-body experiences, and I've had visitations where I've really seen, like I've seen Jesus more clearly. But anyway, music, connect to this spiritual team, to Jesus, connect through music, listen to music, good music. So I upload musical shorts that Jesus and my team helped me create. You can go through those and use your own intuition, listen to good music, connect with them, listen to the music, listen to the messages that you get. Maybe after listening to music, pray while you're listening to music. Write, you know, you can do automatic writing, you can talk, you know, do like talk to text. You can use that time to be creative yourself. But, you know, meditation, all of that stuff, all of the modalities that we always talk about are wonderful. Anything you are guided to learn or want to get done through a good practitioner, and also use your own intuition. Take it all in. Talk to your spiritual team, talk to Jesus, see, you know, what advice you should take, but, you know, beware of dark energy. So all that stuff is great, but they're really highlighting today music. It's just such a simple thing. And, you know, if you can, try to fill up your house or one room with music. You know, while maybe you light a candle and you pray. So that will help you connect with them. So we're going to just talk a little bit about Sinead's. So I did automatic writing. That's what I'm looking at here as I've been talking to her. We'll talk to Sinead's, talk about her relationships that she had. And also, this is just like her biography. I'm going to get into the talk to text, like her messages that she's been giving me, and then we'll talk to her too. But just like quickly, she did not connect to the right partners. And that's like a huge message of this reading to help you all. It's very important. Even though she was on her mission in her work, she still didn't connect to the right partners because she was a little shut down by the way she was treated in her childhood. But her first partner, John Reynolds, producer, drummer, was dark reptilian. And that was not, not first partner, but first marriage, no bueno. It was just a terrible situation for her. And, her being just like, not just, but she's Arcturian and Pleiadian, very sensitive, creative, protective, nurturing. And, she didn't have the tall, white, a little more stoic energy. So maybe that's a little bit confusing if you don't understand that. So Sinead is part of my spiritual team, but she's, like a grandchild of the spiritual team. So she is Pleiadian and Arcturian, but she doesn't have the tall white influence that this more smaller circle has, which has pros and cons. But one of the cons is that she was a little more sensitive to this. It's very difficult to explain, but she was even more vulnerable. And she, her mother was dark reptilian and her first husband. So, guys, it's just so challenging. She was, really chewed up and spit out by them and just really taken advantage of, and abused by them, more so her mom. But she's saying, like, her husband was, just passive aggressive. And then she moved on to Nick Summerlad, who's reptilian, Steve Cooney, reptilian, Barry Harridge, reptilian, John Waters, reptilian. And then she had a child, Shane, with a man, Denal Clooney, and he was finally, she was with the starseed, but still she was with an Arcturian. Shane, Denal was an Arcturian. Donal, she's correcting me. Donal was Arcturian, but just far removed from her and not part of her You know, not a soulmate or not a soulmate or a twin flame. And although they had a short-lived loving relationship, she felt more like motherly towards him energetically. So you know, that didn't work. So this explains, you know, why she struggled in relationships. Denal Looney, I wrote it down, Denal Looney, she's correcting me. These Irish names, these Irish names are a bitch. I don't even know what I can say on YouTube. I see people swear, I don't know. I'm not really a swearer, but Sinead seems to be. You're negatively influencing me. She's like, you just gotta get it out and get it right. Sometimes it's just, she's like, life's a bitch and you just have to say it that way. Yes, you're right. So while she was here throughout her lifetime, she got diagnosed with lots of stuff. Bipolar, borderline. She dealt with that by like smoking weed. But really she was just a highly sensitive ENFJ, empath, starseed, galactic. You got it all, girl. Just, yeah. And, you know, living in a rough place with the rough parents, meeting these rough and tough partners, or, you know, well, if you look at her partners, they don't look rough and tough, but just they were less vulnerable. Just the whole situation. And then, okay, she had 4 children. Shane was Arcturian, and many of you know, he passed, unalived himself, which is very unfortunate and sad. He was also very sensitive, had a very hard time understanding his environment. And then Roizen, reptilian, Jake, reptilian, little less vulnerable, and Yeshua, she's like, with all of her interests in different religions and stuff, she named her 4th child Yeshua, Arcturian. So it's quite the mixed bag. And if her children would ever be listening to this video, she, you know, her children that are alive here now, Roizen, Jake, Yeshua, letting you know, just saying, you know, for Roizen and Jake, that you are reptilian. That's not an insult. You can watch my video, what it means to be reptilian. There's a difference between reptilian and dark reptilian. You know, her mother was dark reptilian. Her first husband is dark reptilian, but that's from their behaviors. They turned dark. We can see this in movies and stuff, going to the dark side. But anyway, that's just a brief, we'll move on from that. Her family. And so she wants to tell her children that she's sorry, that she passed early. She told me that she wishes she had taken care of herself. She's like, if I had bloody known, she said, I would have fucking lived in fucking California, started surfing and taking care of myself and not smoked. And she had COPD, and she's like, I wouldn't have smoked. I would have, freaking surfed and eaten health food, and life was so short. She's like, let this be a lesson. She's very emphatic. Let this be a lesson. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. When you're feeling down, go be a Californian. Go work out. Go eat health food. Go to the gym. Go exercise. Go outside. She's like, oh, bloody hell. She lost it all just by, smoking. And, guys, my spiritual team have come through before, and Jesus has said this, like, any kind of smoke is bad for your body. And as we go through life, we take our lungs for granted. Smoke and weed and cigars, cigarellos, mixtures of cigarettes and weed and fires and secondhand smoke, and they're really emphasizing this. They all become like health coaches on the other side. And they're showing me like the halal carts, and all the toxins we breathe in, and she's like, fuck, like, she had a lot more to do. She had children she wanted to take care of, and she got so depressed when her son, it was so hard for her. Her son took his life, and it's so easy to downward spiral, to not take care of yourself. And she's like, guys, she said, if you don't take care of yourself, you don't understand. Many of you will not make it past your 50s. You won't make it past your 50s. Long life is not guaranteed. A good life is not guaranteed. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll have some sort of health issue. Yes, reptilians are a bit stronger, but definitely if you're sensitive, definitely if you're galactic, if you think you're an empath, take care of yourself. She's being very emphatic. She's like, take care of yourself, because be aware of all of these sensitivities. It's very hard. Okay, so I wrote down some songs to check out. Am I Not Your Girl? She was saying that's just Am I Not Your Girl? Yeah, so another trap that she fell into, coming from her dark background with her mother of physical, mental, ABUSE, and then all of her characteristics. Unfortunately, in her relationships, and this is a big message, if you have some sort of job where you're like away, as a singer like she was, or maybe you work third shift or something like that, or you just have these like chunks of time to be with someone. Her and Jesus are together saying, like, be very careful, guys. This also ruined her relationships. It was like she wanted to make sure the people she was with felt cared for, so she would spend too much time with them in a chunk. And we're not designed that way. No matter how much you love someone, it should be measured out a little bit more. and Jesus is adding in, it has to do with our hormones. It affects men first. Like, they can actually become physically sick if they do not separate from, they do not get a separation time from their partner because of the huge drop in testosterone. And then women just get exhausted. It messes with their hormonal balance too, and it could actually increase their testosterone, making them very cranky, and then just this whole like downward spiral starts with fighting and they're saying it can eventually become like brother-sister energy, and then fighting as if you're a brother and sister, and then that will bring you back to your own childhood, and it's just so far removed from how we were intended to be. We were intended to live in groups, be with our partners at special times, be romantically physically intimate like once a week, and behave a certain way with each other, not as brother and sister, not always like on top of each other. You know, Jesus is showing me like a couch, you know, in a typical living room, just in pajamas, watching TV. Like it's just, this is what is killing relationships. You know, trying to be the whole like friends all the time and doing everything together, and you know, we'll get into that in another video. Just be aware of that, guys. That's a really important message. So just going through here, what I wrote down. Universal Mother. These were all gold hits, guys. Sinead will be remembered as being one of the greatest singers of all times. Throw Down Your Arms, Rememberings. She's saying a lot about Ireland, about child, ABUSE, human rights, racism, women's rights. And then one of the pinnacles of her career is when she was on SNL and she tore up a picture of Pope John Paul II in protest, and she's you know, made amends with him on the other side, and that her doing that was symbolism. It was to get his attention, but it wasn't like just against him and the religion of Catholicism. It was to protect children, and that was another part of her mission. She was a victim of little people, ABUSE, and then she wanted to fight against that, but then so many people ended up hating her because they took it as just, you know, the literal, just her being against the Pope, her being against the Catholic Church, and it wasn't that. It was the ABUSE that goes on and was being overlooked. Such a complicated issue, very hard for the leaders to talk about, take care of, because they'd have to go forth and criticize clergy, which can turn and has turned people off to the teachings of Christ. And it's horrible because Jesus' teaching and the messages that he tries to get through to the prophets, to the messengers, through music, through gospel, through verse, these are all to help us. And then because of these organizations and then some of the bad apples that are a part of them, these messages get lost and people throw out the baby. Excuse me. They throw out the baby with the bathwater, and it's terrible. But this is also how you can check out my other videos, the dark reptilian energy that hangs out in the fourth dimension, that preys on humanity, known as like the devil, evil. This is how it gets through. It gets through individuals who work for organizations, just a one way amongst a million, gets through and, does bad things and then creates a bad reputation, and then the help that people need, the messages are lost. And just so many people are under the idea that religion and spirituality is like, you're paying homage to your creators and you're trying to respect them and you're trying to do it for them. And that's wonderful, but it was given through messengers, through Jesus. Jesus was a big messenger. Through all of us messengers, it's given to help you currently, daily, to help you feel better, to help you be more productive and prosperous and intelligent and attractive and healthy and all the things that will make your life better. So, we'll keep doing this and fighting the good fight, but the point that she was trying to make, she did make a point. It did help, even though she took a lot of heat for it. It put her in a position of becoming a scapegoat, took away a bit from her music, but she was just so good that it was hard to do that. So, but moving on, she was on a very open spiritual journey, and she had discovered the Muslim religion. So she was getting into that because she saw some positive messages there. She would have eventually, we can see with her naming her son Yeshua, and she would have eventually made her way back to, like many of us, just seeing the good messages of each religion And she would have really gotten into that had she lived, like, studying religion more and, you know, figuring out what was helpful and what wasn't. And yeah, that she was on a religious journey and never gave up Christ in her heart. Yeah, she named herself Shuhada Sadaquat, like a Muslim name. She really, you know, she saw a lot of good in that. So I'm going to come on and talk about, now that I've made a lot more videos, and I'm definitely going to come on and talk more about each religion and how Jesus feels about each religion. And you know, you can tell my name. I'm Judeo-Christian, so Jewish and Christian. Jesus told me that, and that's who I am, and that's who he is, and that's where the core of his messages are. But there's good messages in, you know, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism. So we'll get into that more. And I have, you know, you can watch my other videos. And that's bringing me back to my Navy t-shirt. Just to let you all know, this whole group, they call themselves the Galactic Federation. And it is a unified team working for God, working for Jesus, and it is to fight spiritual warfare that we are experiencing now and we always have here on Earth. And I'm part of that, and that's why I'm wearing this Navy t-shirt. Archangel Michael spearheads the Navy, and he asked me to wear it. In other lifetimes I've had, I'll get into those too. I have been in the Navy. So very Pleiadian, very much about protecting the seas, and we'll get into that at another time. I highlighted some of her moments of her life. After she passed posthumously, they inducted her to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is a really big deal. She got to sing with Peter Gabriel, who I'll get into at another time, is galactic. And I have here, she really connected to Saint Francis, which I will get into another time, why she's connected to Saint Francis. I'm going to do a whole video about Saint Francis, who is also Archangel Uriel, but that's a whole rabbit hole. But I am going to get my computer, it's been charging, and I'm just going to do the talk to text. Some of what I've already talked about, but we'll see what's in there. She ended up talking, there's a big, Chris Christopherson is galactic, and he told her, don't let the bastards get you down, which then also Bono put in a song. It's all connected. Yeah, she's like, oh, I pissed off a lot of people. Yeah, you did. But sometimes it's these big acts that like do end up having an effect. So guys, Just give me 1 minute. Let me get my computer. I will be right back. Try to see if you guys can feel the energy of my spiritual team and Sinead. Even talk to them if you'd like. Ask them for help. Okay. I have my computer here. Get Sinead's messages. Sometimes she just was like talking away. So, and I really just always want to come right on and talk to you guys, but I want it to be somewhat organized. So yes, this is a trigger warning. She talked about her mom and the ABUSE. So if you don't want to hear about that, just, I understand, but I mean, her mom really physically hurt her daily. And one of the big messages her mom instilled in her was, I don't want you to have children. She would kick her in the stomach. That is such a dark reptilian, especially reptilian energy in a parent, is they will find a way to make their children feel like they would be terrible parents, to get their children to stop their bloodline. That is a big sign you're dealing with a dark reptilian energy, is it wants to stop bloodlines, especially galactic bloodlines. And we can see that going on now in a lot of the messages that we've all received throughout our lifetimes, and like how the negative of like, oh, you know, having children and how it's a burden and how hard it's going to be. In Sinead's case, her mom made her feel like she wanted to physically disable her so she couldn't have a child, but also tried to mentally make her think she would be a bad mother, which put her into overdrive, trying to give so much in relationships. And then she ended up downward spiraling, not taking care of herself. And she said, in a way, by leaving her other 3 children here, her mother ended up getting a bit of what she wanted, because not taking care of yourself, and you know, it's not black and white, but it is a form of ABUSE to your children. So no matter how hard she tried to not let that happen, it did happen a bit. A bit. What does that mean? It means a bit. It means I'm getting into this word. Her expressions are coming through. So I don't want to minimize that, but I also don't want to overly focus on that, because her intention was not to do that. And intention is very big when you pass, when you go over to the other side. Your intentions, that's what is, when you do your life review, I started my life review when I had a near-death experience, and I will make a video on that. But what I was told was your intentions are, you go over your intentions. They're really, really important in your life work. Yeah, she talked about times she stood up for the Catholic Church. There were times she stood up for Israel, times she was against both, times she was against, extremist Islam. She'd like you not to think in black and white. She would like you to forgive her for the mistakes she made. And others, she was born to be an advocate, born to be a generational curse breaker. Sometimes she went too far. Sometimes she went too far into her masculine energy, which happens to women when they're not taken care of properly as a little girl, or they're ABUSED. She got so far into her masculinity that she even thought she was a lesbian. She actually wasn't. She had a love for humanity and a love for people's souls. So that kind of way of being, you could, if your soulmate or your twin flame was the same sex, you could, but that wasn't her case. That wasn't her path. I mean, her, her mission. But she got so far in her masculine that she thought that, which can happen to people. And she also wants to give a warning that dark reptilians, or like another name we call people narcissistic, sociopaths, psychopaths, beware if you are on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, that some of these dark energies prey on you to the point where some people pretend to be lesbian, or on that, they pretend to be on that spectrum to get supply, and you can look up narcissistic supply, to get what they want from people, which is just a terrible thing. Okay, let me move on here. She's really getting in these messages, and Jesus too. So yeah, she was so far in her masculine, she thought she was a lesbian. Sometimes she got to the point where she rebelled, even against her friends. Sometimes she'd hurt people who were her allies. We talked about Prince. Okay, this is an interesting message she wanted to let you all know. She said, as a lead singer, one of the worst things is playing with a band that plays too loud. You have to screech, you can't really complain, they drown you out. And that's like, it can either be that they're not, it could be their talent level, their ego. But she's saying many of you don't like going out for live music because the band is too loud and it drowns out the singer. But it's very hard on a singer. They can blow out their voice. They can tell the audience can't hear them. So be careful of that if you're in a band and watch out for that. She's saying, hey, if you ever want to speak up for a singer, and just tell a band member, like, loved you guys, but you were just a bit too loud, couldn't hear the singer. She said it's a shame. Now they would have called me a diva. Sometimes she did have to bring it up. She said that was a very challenging thing. Singers, you'll hear about them on tour, blowing out their voice, ending up having to be in the hospital, their vocal cords, exhaustion. And it's also an indication of knowing how talented your band is, and also it's really tough, but making sure if you're a singer that or she's saying anything you do, that you make sure you keep trying to work with the right people. She said she knew the music she was singing was good, that it was from God, and it was sacred. And she knew she had that strong relationship with God, and that what she was singing was gospel. And she knew it was part of her mission to call out the ABUSE in the Catholic Church. She didn't know about the whole finding your right partner as being part of her mission. And she said finding your right partner is not only your mission, but part of your children's missions, and part of how you treat your children. And this is not shaming anybody right now if you've had a bad relationship. Again, it's intention. This isn't to shame and blame and be like, you're a bad parent. It's not that. She's just saying that try to pass that information on, that picking the right partner is for your children too. Okay, just moving on. Yeah, she mentioned that song again, Am I Not Your Girl? And that was written about being with someone who's two-faced, a dark person, or someone who has dark intentions. That's after the love bombing stage. She couldn't believe in her first marriage, after the love bombing stage, after how much this man said he loved her, this song came from that energy. Am I not your girl? Wait a minute. She really was innocent, thinking, how could this be possible? It blew her mind. Her mother, she said, was always ABUSIV to her, SIVE. She understood that, but when she got into relationships, she didn't understand how someone could be loving one day and not the next. I get that. I never understood that either. With friendships either. She's like, how could you be my friend one day and next day be a complete bitch? And I'm like, yeah, that is very confusing. That's very confusing for people who are not like that. But she does know that that she did break that generational curse. you know, we see some bad things that did happen, and, you know, she's with her son now, but her children that are here, she did break that curse. And that was her mission. She wished she had done more, done it, you know, better, but yeah, because she had experienced that betrayal trauma in her childhood, she kept repeating that pattern. She just made a lot of jokes with words and stuff. She'd just keep repeating the pattern and over and be redundant, and then she made fun of herself. And this was a whole rant she went on, like, I'd meet someone, fall in love, pour my heart out to them, devoting too much time and energy. We've already talked about that whole cycle. And she, you know, she's saying to women out there, please try to think of it, you know, how it's very unhealthy to have that much togetherness, even in the honeymoon stage. She's like, as a woman, think about, you know, you love your chocolate cake, but after a few days, it makes you sick, girl. Think about that. Think about the man. That's how he sees it. Try to put yourself in your partner's position. It's very, very challenging, which is why most relationships, modern relationships, are not lasting. We've gone over this. This is a big, you know, message of hers. A lot of these things she's already said. Yes, her mother told her she was worthless and she would be a worthless mother. And the fact that she did have relationships, it's just, you know, it was who she was. Her mother couldn't take away the fact that she was loving, the fact that she wanted to have children. In fact, she was told not to have her first child by several people. We won't name names, but she was so young. She's like, treated you mean, but I don't think so. I'm just butchering it. So, she's like, don't worry about it. I know it sounds mean. How did I know what I want when I was only 21? Yeah, so she made that song is about her deciding through their own rules, they will be exposed. Oh, The Emperor's New Clothes. Please, guys, listen to that. She's singing to me. The Emperor's New Clothes. You know, that whole idea is very big right now. It's been downloaded throughout history from Jesus. You know, the Emperor's New Clothes. If you don't know that story, please read that story. I am surprised when I talk to lots of young people that a lot of these famous stories haven't been told to them, which is terrible. Read that story, listen to her song, The Emperor's New Clothes. So it's about the truth. It's about a young boy who gets in trouble for being the only one in town who calls out the emperor's naked in the parade, and everyone's saying, oh, what a beautiful suit. But anyway, that song was downloaded to her, and it's about the truth that she knew in her heart at 21 years old, that she should have her child or any pregnancy, even if it ruins the relationship. She knew that that's how strong her faith was. And this is all after being like abused, abused by both parents, being told she was worthless, being physically attacked, being told she could never be a mother, being told by her partner that they were too young, being told by everyone that she shouldn't have a child, and she did. She rose above it all and just did it. She said yes, she did. That was a success in her mission. And the message of not drowning people out, we're going to go back to listening to other people. Don't drown them out. Obviously, you can see I like to blab, so I have to really be careful of that. She said, find people who don't drown you out. Work on that with people. It should be like an orchestra, ultimately. She said the lion and the cobra was that we talked about the Lion and the Cobra album. That's a psychic symbol of galactic, the lion. So someday I will get into St. Peter, how he talked about being a lion in the gospel, be a lion amongst snakes. So, the lion and the cobra, the Garden of Eden, all of this connects, guys. These are continual messages about the same thing. The lion being, you have to be as strong as a lion to fight against the cobra. I talk about the dark reptilian. And guys, it's so crazy. Don't write dark reptilian in my comment section. It won't, YouTube will hold it. That is one of the very few things that you can't say on the internet fully. It's so crazy. So, David Icke was someone, Jesus had me look him up. I didn't know anything about him, had me look him up, and he talked about dark reptilians. Well, the idea got so crazy when it got into like people shape shifting and showing their face change. Well, the idea got so crazy because of course people were again understanding this concept of dark reptilian energy and how dangerous it is. And so once society caught on to that, it got so spoofed and it made into such a ridiculous conspiracy theory by the people who were trying to protect it. They went too far, they went too crazy with it, saying like people's faces just change and people have these magical powers. And no, people can, when they're under demonic influence, they do shape-shift their face. Their eyes do go dark. They're under like a demonic attack, a dark reptilian attack. But when they got into like, Katy Perry's eyeballs, like, that's when it got so ridiculous that it got taken out of context. And even like a lot of people won't even follow me or watch my stuff because I'm trying to bring this idea back, but in its true form. And it was even many religious people, Bible thumpers, they reject this idea of dark reptilian, but they shouldn't, because Jesus keeps reminding me, you know, I'm not well read. I haven't read the Bible. I've read parts of it at times, very little. But he'll tell me verses and then I'll go find them. But he's told me this is in the Bible. They talk about snakes and snakes in the Garden of Eden. But unfortunately, so I'm really trying to get these messages out that, you know, I'm going to do a whole video on the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve and what really happened. But even me just talking about this stuff, for some reason, well, not some reason, it was purposely done by the dark reptilian energy, hijacked the truth. And now people think it's just all crazy conspiracy. And if you just say certain words like reptilian, you're written off. But anyway, I'm just going to talk about this stuff anyway. She's like, yeah, you go. Yeah. Yeah, she went over that song, I'm Not Your Girl, again. And that was part of her autism, to not being able to see people's dark motivations. And so in modern 2025, they say like being autistic is not being able to read like social situations. And Jesus says that it's not being able to read people's hidden intentions. And it is a way of being. If you don't have dark intentions, it's very hard for you to read someone sometimes who does, because oftentimes you're told like not to listen to your own intuition, and then this person's being totally fake. Like, so anyway, let that be a warning. We can talk about that more at another time. And understand, she's saying, when dealing with people who are more on the darker spectrum, darker reptilians too, they assume that you're like them, so you can beg and plead with them and say, you know, oh, I love you and I don't have any sort of dark intention towards you, and they won't even believe you. I have all these random things. Van Morrison moon dance. She was talking about that. These are all related to being galactic or galactic influences. So check that out. She wishes she had publicly celebrated other musicians more. And she's like, let that be a lesson. People who are at your level, respect them, respect each other. It's just saying that's something that's even hard for galactics on Earth. Respect people who are below you in your profession. Stop just kissing arse to people above you. Respect. You get it. Respect people at your level. Stop with the crab in the bucket mentality. Stop. She's like, you'll regret it. That's a regret of hers. She wishes she had collaborated more with others, that she had taken care of herself so she could have been a mentor and wrote songs for people like Prince did. She did meet Phil Collins, who is a father energy in this group for her. So that would be, yeah, like a brotherly, brotherly energy of Metatron, child of Archangel Uriel. Okay. She did have a Jesus tattoo on her chest. She mentioned a lot of bands she liked, had me listen to. Simple Minds. She was shocked when she passed about a lot of things. She was shocked, about Prince, but she was shocked about who Sir Bob Geldof really is. You can watch my video on Michael Hutchins. We talk about Sir Bob Geldof. She had no idea. She connected with Biggie and Tupac. She sacrificed some of her peace for her mission. Her love of others was her biggest downfall. It was used against her. She was taken advantage of too. Some of her partners took advantage of her fame and her money. She said she's saying covert now, covert. She was with people who feigned innocence, who were what we would call their covert narcissists. Actually, some acted sort of feminine, manipulative. So she had a system that's passed down like me, where she didn't, and it's a Celtic issue too, where keep this in mind if you feel like you might be a part of this DNA that just doesn't digest sugar well, chemicals, carbohydrates. So that would be more of like the, Neanderthal diet, a higher, like more of a, just more protein, less carbs, not like too high a protein. That can be a problem too. Lower carbs, like certain carbs. She said she did well with the potatoes, but just a lot of things didn't agree with her, and she wishes she had sought more medical help for that. She would have cut out gluten and sugar. But back, just talking about that LA lifestyle, and in the time she grew up, and me too, you would be called like a hypochondriac, talking about how, unfortunately, we grew up in a time where you couldn't talk about your ailments. You'd look like a hypochondriac, and you were told to just suck it up. But that was bad for everyone's health, her health. She is so sorry she left her children behind. She really regrets that again. yeah, she had me listen to Matchbox 20 and Amy Winehouse, and she's connected with Amy Winehouse. So I feel like she's passing the torch, you know, as far as like me reading. So maybe we'll see Amy Winehouse soon. They're saying yes. Yeah, and part of her passing too was just deep grief. So, oh yes, Sinead passed from COPD, cardiopulmonary disease, and asthma. And so she was just in bad health, and then the grief, you know, grief affects your heart, and it all worked together. The lifetime of smoke and the grief and, you know, not exercising. That's how she passed. I'm just realizing many of you might be watching this because you might be thinking she was taken out, and she wasn't. That's how she passed, but she wasn't. She was taken out. She said the dark reptilian energy that she had experienced, that she had dealt with her entire life, really drained her energy. She's saying, be careful, get away from it, do what you can, it will kill you. So please take her advice. Avoid dark people, dark situations. Listen to your intuition. Yeah, remove yourself from all dark energy, dark reptilian energy. Don't confront it unless it's your mission. She feels bad, like she had been down on Trump and his whole gang, not realizing their place in part of this galactic federation. She was part of it too, but she didn't understand their part. She said, love was dangled like a carrot, making me give more and more. She said, I didn't know people could fake love. I wasn't fake. I didn't understand people could be so fake. They could use love as a weapon. Just talentless people prey on the talented as an energy source, vampirism as a money and power and fame. She couldn't see the connection. I thought they were just as passionate and sensitive like me until they had me, and then they'd switch up. She said many people are going through this and they need help. And she said people would imitate what you like. They make themselves into this perfect being, what you want. Just when you meet people, take the focus off yourself. Ask them questions. Get to know them slowly. Ask what their goals are. And Jesus is saying, you know, so many people are out here spiritually judging others and judging others by their religion and things like that. And, you know, he's always said, and he said it when he was here, he's said it to his prophets, it's in your actions. So make sure people's actions line up with what they're saying. Ask them what their goals are. Ask them what they're passionate about. Ask details. Keep asking details. Keep asking for leadership. Keep asking people for responsibility. When we were kids, we'd say, put your money where your mouth is. She said, let's bring betting. Let's bring betting back. Someone says to you something, you know it's a fucking lie. Say, how much you want to bet on that? How much you want to bet? That'll stop people from lying. That used to keep friends together. Say, how much you want to bet? Nowadays, people say, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. She's funny, guys. She said, funny how scrutiny is not thought of romantic. Using scrutiny is romantic and is loving, and people should be strong enough to stand up to it. She said, I know it's hard. You get caught in the moment. Just be careful. You know, don't become like a cold person. It's a happy medium. But understand that you have anything, you will be targeted, at least on Earth. Just watch out for people who have nothing going on underneath, no drive, no motivation, nothing to contribute. You know, she said, me with the autism and just not knowing, and just being unaware of just trying to be accepted, be human, make connections, not being aware. Just the darkness, the alcoholism, the Catholicism, all mixed together, not understanding. That's what attracted her to the Muslim religion, was the no alcohol, with giving a clarity of mind. But she's like, then I smoked, which is not. She's not an advocate for weed. She thinks it's addictive, and just, you know, it's not a health. It's not healthy. Smoke, addictive, makes people tired. My mom was a sociopath, if you want to put it into correct terms, and she became addicted to the pain of others like a drug. She needed more and more and more. Thankfully, her mom passed when she was 18. It was rough. Yeah, and so when she was younger too, her mom actually taught her to steal at church. She just really wanted Sinead to become like a bad person and be really effed up, you know, go to jail, all that stuff. And so she ended up going and stealing something and going to like a school for girls that was like part of a hospital. She said it was a really, really sick, depraved experience, and she, you know, it was her connection to this team that saved her. And that connection, you know, they had to try really hard to keep her on her mission. She said even that, though, even that crazy experience was better than being with my mom. Me mom. Yeah, I'm using my accent and her, like I'm trying to channel her more, but my own accent comes through, but this is one of, you know, I usually don't channel people like right through me like that, but I didn't know she was going to ask me to do that. Sorry guys, some of this stuff she's already said. The dark reptilian energy got through me, through my mind, through telling me, you know, you suck, you're not good, you're not a good mother, you're a bad person, you can't maintain a relationship. And that's how it got to me, and it just fed off me, and I didn't know it was feeding off me and making me tired and cranky and wanting to just like smoke weed. And she had spiritual experiences too, which she couldn't talk about. That was hard. She said it's just what a confusing fucking mess, having spiritual experiences and being ABUSCD and being messed with. And she had SEX, ABUSC, and then she was like religious and seeing people like with alcoholism and experiencing having spiritual experiences. She said growing up she would talk to Mother Mary, she talked to Jesus. I don't know how you came out of it. Let's all well, when I put my computer down, we're gonna have to clap for Sinead. And you know, I just kind of went over it, but she is, yeah, my grandchild. So this is the connection and why, you know, I'm just able to really channel her. And I'm also like, some of the other people I've channeled, I think they wanted me to channel like that, but I just set in that boundary. But I'm just feeling open. Feeling open and just tried it today. But she's my grandchild. Gotta spoil her. They say that the grandchildren get spoiled when they pass over. Oh, and this is another thing. So her being a grandchild of this group, I've given grandchildren of this spiritual group messages before, and it's very, very hard. Like I said, with her being a grandchild, Pleiadian, Arcturian, sensitive. When she passed, like, she was just so cared for, but you may ask, why would such a sensitive soul take on this mission of all of this ABUSE and why. And so she took on the mission. She volunteered for it. She was shown how it could get bad. It got to the maximum that it could, and how bad it could get. I mean, well, I mean, there's always worse, but like, it got really bad as part of her mission. And she almost didn't make it a few times, and she, you know, she did end up making it. But that's part of, you know, she was told on the other side, you're very sensitive. This would be a very hard mission. And so her soul, yes, it's strong, but it's also very sensitive. Like, she did choose her mission to, in that lifetime, yes, to be a famous singer, but to be part of that family, to change the family dynamic, to change the family curse. But she knew it was going to be rough. She knew she might not live long. But she also knew that she would have a spiritual connection, that she would be helped. Of course, when we are here, the veil is covered somewhat. There were bleed-throughs and help from the other side. So she did receive that, but she volunteered because not every lifetime that she's had will be like that. So this is something I want to make clear, because there are a lot of you who watch my channel who went through the mission of having dark reptilian parents as a galactic being, you know, an empath with a narcissist parent. So understand that every lifetime will not be like that. That you will have some lifetimes where you'll be with your galactic family, and it will be wonderful. And you even have a chance to make your life wonderful now, if you can. And understand that obligation is only until you're, 18 or of legal age. Like in Sinead saying her mom passed when she was 18, and that gave her a bit of a way out. And saying find your way out, and understand once you are of legal age, you have no obligation to be around anybody who is abusive. Anyone. You have no obligation. Don't be around anyone who's abusive, no matter what their relationship is to you. Especially if you're a starseed, get back on your mission. Try to help the next generation, break that generational curse, and understand if you were with your galactic family, which you will be in another lifetime, and you have been, it's much easier to be successful. Yeah, and those other diagnoses were wrong. The bipolar, the borderline. She had autism, ADHD, and she had CPTSD, which is chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, that's what she had. So let that be a message too, that a lot of diagnoses of borderline and bipolar are those combinations of dealing with what we call on Earth as autism and ADHD, which is being galactic. and then mixed with trauma. And the sensitive DNA lines through Jesus and through Uriel, we are very in our heavy Pleiadian energy too, and Arcturian. We've talked about that. You know, just be careful if you have any Irish ancestry. Be careful of, you know, being sensitive to alcohol, gluten, sugar, and just allergies, things like that, autoimmune disorders. Yeah. And you know, a lot of autoimmune too is just from chronic stress. And some of it's already there. She doesn't want you to feel guilty if you have an autoimmune disorder. Let me put my computer down. And I think we are going to wrap this up. Let me put this over here. And let's just clap for Sinead. Yay, Sinead. Thank you for coming through. And she's bowing. Oh, she's beautiful, you guys. She's wearing a white robe now with the gold rope. And she's doing a Jesus pose, and she has 2 doves. She wants me to upload the picture of, I have a picture of a dove on my fire escape that came to me when it was time for me to move from my other apartment. She went from bald, and now she has like long brown flowing hair, like it's back, and it's like she went to the beach. It's like sun-kissed. A lot of times they show up like this, like, yeah, oh yes, she's transforming herself into the, she said that when she said she wished she had moved to California. Yes, now she's on a surfboard and she's fit. She's like, if you have an opportunity to be fit, try it. She said she would have liked it. She would have liked being a little tan, a little fit, healthy. She said it just wasn't the Irish way. It just wasn't a product of my time. It could have saved me so many years. Okay, we're gonna say thank you, Sinead. Good night. I will continue to talk to you. Maybe we'll have her on again. She has lots of messages. I want to thank Jesus, thank my team, thank you guys. If you're still here, you really have a lot of patience, and patience is a virtue. And yeah, try to cultivate your patience. I'm going to do the same. I'm very sore right now, so we're gonna wrap this up. Okay. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, team. Thank you, guys. They're sending their love. I'm sending my love to you guys and my love to them, and I will come on soon. All right. Bye. And say a little prayer for my mom who passed.